So, ooh, that's very loud. All right, so last time in Mateia, our group fought Valgrimal of the lower tier, um, and while they're fighting him, they decided they didn't want to hear his voice anymore, so they silenced him into submission for a little while until they defeated him. Um, as he went down, he turned himself into the train that they were that they were on board previously. He molded with the train and became the living embodiment of the train itself. Eventually, upon completing that combat, the train threw some of the some of the riders and the passengers off of the train. Some, unfortunately, did not survive. Many did, however, survive, including the 4 children that they had previously met. Eventually, the party went and healed all of these children, and Valista kind of went off to the side with the 4th youngest of the children, who had the shadow flu, whose name is Jeremy, the only one whose name you actually know, or did know. And as Valista went off to the sides and was speaking with Jeremy in private, um, Naomi was keeping an eye, as she so often does, on Valista, and noticed that she entombed both of them in ice. And upon the entombment of ice melting away, there was a changed, reformed maybe, Jeremy, who had this ice white skin and hair with diamond blue eyes, wielding a blade of ice in one hand. And after staring for a couple of seconds, you saw this large blue cloak whip around them, and Jeremy and this figure kind of disappeared, and you saw 5, 6, 7 footsteps of ice in the ground leading away from where Valista was standing with the child. Seeing this, Naomi made her way over, started questioning Valista, but not before swinging her glaive at her numerous times. Eventually, though, Naomi was talked into more so questioning Valista prior to murdering her. She's not quite to the murder part yet, but it was looking grim for a minute there. But eventually, Naomi cast Zone of Truth, of which Valista let take effect. And after a couple of questions, we ended last session with Naomi posing the question to Valista of, why did you choose to betray the crown? And to remind you of the specifics of Zone of Truth, Zone of Truth does not require you to answer, but if you do answer, you cannot lie. But you can choose not to answer. There is that. So, that is where we find ourselves now. Naomi awaiting an answer from Melistus regarding her betrayal towards the crown, the whole purpose of why Naomi was sent to find her.
Yeah, so here's the deal, gang. I just did it for the lulz. No. I actually wrote up an answer.
All right.
I got it done literally last night.
Well, Valista, the question has been posed to you. I will turn it to you on how you wish to respond or not respond. The choice is yours.
Well, I'm not gonna waste up this thing that I've written up to not say anything.
Okay.
Seems like a waste. So I will respond. Oh God, I have to remember my voice. I'm sure it was something like this. I'll get into it. So I'm gonna respond. And I respond. Not any water. I'm good. When I was but a child, I lived a happy and normal life with my parents. That was until your king learned of my existence. young girl born with the color as dark as the ocean, to two normal human parents interested him. And just like that, I was wrenched from my life. Sold like a child buying a pet from a store. The king cared not for my existence, and the queen only cared to teach me ways of the court. And I was alone for so long until she came around and introduced herself, but by then it was too late. The prince already took a liking to me, and he offered me power and a friend, so I would no longer be alone. And all he wanted in return was a throne. And I accepted the deal. I was scared and alone and unwanted, and he cared for me when I was in my darkest hour. Under his influence, my color began shifting, and my arm becoming that of pure frost, and it didn't take long for the king or his wizards and mages to notice the corruption, as they would call it, and connect my newfound power to that of the prince. I was chased from the kingdom with blades at my back everywhere I went, but I survived. I didn't betray the crown. I never wanted to be a part of the crown. And the prince gave me the strength I needed to take my life back.
Can Naomi roll a history check on the prince?
Yeah, you can roll history or religion, whatever you want.
They're both the same, but let's take religion. 17.
You being in a world where it is proven that there are many different deities, different hierarchies of how goddom is bestowed, you know that there are beings and creatures that go sometimes by their full name, like Lathander. You know there are sometimes beings that go by shorthand names. You've maybe heard of the prince, but you've heard that it's more like lower deities or lower godlike beings that go by their shorter names or their nicknames. They don't go by a full name and title because they don't necessarily have one. But at the same time, to get followers and to build trust, it's a lot easier to do that and form those relationships when you use more of a personal name with a person, as in a first name rather than a full name plus title plus whatever other information there is. So, you know, there are beings that go by 1 to 3 word names that can bestow power to others, yeah.
Okay.
You know, being in the zone of truth, that if you give an answer, it cannot be a falsehood. It is the truth as far as they know it to be.
Does Prince ask of you in return?
He asked for the throne of the king.
Power for power, huh?
Why would they be so desperate to want you alive?
One more time, please.
Why would they be so desperate to want you alive?
You can roll a history check, Ballista, if you want an idea of why they might want you alive.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. My brain is trying to figure that out myself. History!
Crit, crit, crit. What?
Roll it
So
again
man-
with advantage because it's more so your memory.
History!
Okay, it was a 10 to remember your own stuff under this stressful tribunal. From what you remember while you were in the immediate aftermath of the order to keep you in the castle, right before you ran, when the prince gave you the first order and warning that you needed to run, because those who took you were going to betray you again. You heard through the use of your magic, through the prince, and through a couple of friends that you had made, more so, friends might not be the right word. It's more so you were kind of looked at as almost a servant or an employee of the crown, in the same way as what a cook is or a butler is or a maid. You were in that same kind of tier of where you fell in the pecking order. So those in that same pecking order, you kind of looked out for each other because you're really all that each other had. So you heard through some of them, through the prince and through utilizing of your own powers, that they wanted to retain you, increase your power, figure out the source of your power, and then use it for their own ways and means.
Okay. Um. They want to use me and my power that the prince has given me for themselves.
So were you only taken before because you looked different?
I was taken because I was exotic to them.
Did you ever seek escape or a way to wriggle out of the deal? It seems like a linear path you found yourself on.
I was alone and I was scared. Escape never seemed an option.
Naomi will drop Zone of Truth and put her glaive on her back and walk up to this child and kind of squat down at it and say, "You said you know how to get out of here, right?"
Well, we can take you to our home. And we kind of know how to get there. And you see that she looks around at the sky and kind of looks to see where the stars are pointed, and you see her tracing, looking past the giant moon off to the west a little bit, and you can see her actively like drawing shapes with her fingers, kind of to where the stars are. She's drawing this home shape in the air almost, just kind of miming it, and just kind of follows it down, and then she points off into the distance towards the west. It says, "I think yes, it's definitely that way. It's a few days, but it's that way."
Naomi will extend a gauntlet-covered hand to the child.
She reaches out and takes your gauntlet.
And then she will turn to the rest of the group and say, "This seems like the only direction we can go. Let us venture forth."
Yes. Naomi, do you seem satisfied with Ballista's answers?
I am wary. On more accounts than just one. But for now it will suffice.
More or less wary than, let's say, a day ago.
Let's just say I have less of a murderous intent than I did a few seconds ago.
Okay.
Shall we?
You see, yeah, the small child looks to the other two children. The other young girl, about her age, says, "Kelly," looks over to the little bit older boy and goes, "Brandon, I think it's time we finally get to go home. I think we should go. We're gonna have to make camp, but camping's always exciting, right?" And they both kind of smile and nod. You can tell that she's definitely, of the three, she is the most childlike. Still, she's not old, but comparatively, she's not as old as the other two. Or she's not so super young either. She's not like a 5 or a 6-year-old, but she has not lost her childhood innocence, at least what it seems like, in her childhood sense of wonder. It's all still seemingly intact. So she grabs you by the gauntlet and starts walking.
Lead the way then.
As she leads the way, it does get darker and darker, but eventually she leads you kind of off into this forest, where you can still see, but you can see that it's getting very, very dark very quickly. The overhead of these trees is very thick. The trees themselves, the majority of them look like they are maybe starting to die, but there are still some that are very much alive, but the leaves aren't that lively green and the normal springtime, summertime colors that you're used to. They're more of like darker shades of blues and grays and silvers. While still full, they just look abnormal. They look to be almost a shade or a shadow of what you would expect a tree of what looks to be this much alive to look like. She leads you into this woods and says, "Well, I don't think we can make it through the forest at night, especially when it's dark. There's scary monsters around, I think. I think we should camp. It's probably safe, and then we can continue in the morning, I think. That's probably best, because I'm very tired. I still hurt from the train." And you look over at the other two children, Kelly and Brandon, and you can see that they are starting to look a bit weary, and just, you can tell they're tired, but they're not. They're trying to put up a strong front that they can keep going, but you can tell, because you know what it looks like when a
Right.
person is just physically exhausted, that they are pushing it to their limits right now based on the last days of events, what just happened. They need to rest. They're looking like it. So, because, do you guys want to camp, or do you want to keep going? What do you think? She asks to
Yeah, we should
the
definitely
four of you.
camp. Camp and eat, yes.
Yes,
This,
camping sounds.
I wish we could feast, but I think we lack supplies for that. But at least some kind of repast.
Okay. You guys can put yourself to wherever you wish to set up camp in this forested area. You have all the stuff down here that's open. You can climb up on these rocks if you really want to. You can go over here. But you came from this way. So you're basically coming down and following this path down this way.
Kind of little clearing looks good.
Down here.
Yeah.
Down a little lower.
What do you think?
I agree.
Can I make some dancing lights hang out for a while we kind of hang out and set up camp?
You can
Perfect.
100% do that. There might be dancing light spell tokens somewhere. Maybe.
Let me check.
I did not make any, no. Sorry. I looked. There's none there.
Okay.
But
I'll cast light like on a branch or something to give us some overhead light for a little bit.
Ooh, fancy.
oh, here you go. Here's some.
Boop.
Oh,
There's some dancing lights. I don't know if I can add this. I might be able to add this to your thing. Oh, I can. Sweet. And there you go. Now you should have some dancing lights in your journal.
whoa. Thank you.
There's also fireflies,
4 of them.
a white sparkler, and a yellow sparkler, if you want those. You just let me know.
I will pick up this little girl and carry her so she doesn't have to walk anymore.
Okay. And she happily lets you eat her off the ground.
Just pluck. Set her against
Just-
set her against my shoulder and let her sleep. Let her rest.
Thank you, big metal lady. She like rests her head against your shoulder and falls asleep.
My name is never mind.
And you see
And she's gone.
And she's
the boy Brandon goes, her name is her name's Sarah. She can sleep pretty much wherever she wants to. You know.
yes.
But yeah, you can put yourself wherever you want to put yourself, and I'll just move her to wherever you are,
Okay.
so you don't feel like you have to sleep in the middle of the path.
Cool. I'll come over here.
Cool.
Can I use my last spell slot and take 10 minutes and summon Simon?
Sure.
Simon.
All right. These two are gonna make their way just kind of over here and just hang out. Simon the Doge.
Simon. I'm here.
Cool. All right. So you guys can start setting up camp, kind of posting dancing lights up around the place, getting some food, because you guys all have your rations that you typically carry with you in like your traveling packs whenever you're going anywhere. And while there's not necessarily a lot of food around here, you can try to look for some food if you wish. Something edible. That's up to you.
Anthea, wanna forage? See what we
Ooh,
can
yes.
to expand these hardtack things.
Agree. Let's do that.
If you both want to forage, you guys can each give me survival check. And there you can do it at advantage because you're a druid. You don't need it. You're a 26.
Oh, you're good.
Oops, I
So
did not mean to roll twice.
no,
Never mind.
you're fine. Yeah. So between the two of you, you guys, without much problem, it's not. You don't really find berries and things like that, but you do find, and they a specialty. You do find many edible fungi. So
Yeah. Stir fry.
Tasty.
I'm gonna move the lights so they're kind of around us.
all right. So
Kind of
you.
float around us.
All right. Go ahead and roll me. Roll me a nature check with advantage, Anthea.
Who?
Oh, okay.
I don't think.
I don't know if the keys are working for me. I guess I'll just roll it twice.
20. Okay. Cool. So with
Dirty 20.
your knowledge of the fungi that you found and are preparing, your 20 lets you make some really high quality road stir fry. So go ahead and roll me a d8, and everybody will wake up with this many temporary hit points tomorrow.
Beautiful.
Do it.
5.
Nice.
So upon completing the long rest, everybody, children included, if they ate, which I'm assuming everyone ate enough, who got woken up and given at least a couple bites, will have 5 temporary hit points to start their day.
Nice.
So, surprisingly, it's really, really good fungus stir fry out in the middle of this real spooky woods.
It's a fungi stir fry.
Okay, so do you guys wish to set up watches for your long rest, or do you just wish to go to sleep? How do you wish to handle your evening? Is there anything else you wish to do for the night?
My watches sound good.
Yeah, watch this.
I have decent spell slots left. I can take first watch.
Okay. Who's all taking watches, should I say?
I'll take
Might
a watch.
take a watch.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Vallista's
need a
staying
nap?
up all night. She's staying up all night.
Okay.
What?
You're gonna have a level of exhaustion.
Maybe. Depends how they roll on their con save. But every 8 hours until they long
generous.
rest, they will have to. Well, no, that's how it goes. You roll it, and if you fail it, you get the level. Otherwise, every 8 hours, you roll it until you sleep.
Oh,
So-
gotcha.
Yep. So you could just keep rolling and failing and keep getting exhaustion, or eventually, after 3 days, you would take one automatically, and then you would pass out. You know, that's just life, because it's real life. Okay. So whoever's up first, as well as Vallista, because you're going to be up all night long, you can each roll a perception check.
All right. Do if I can get D&D Beyond to cooperate. It's being a little buggy.
Ooh.
Duh.
Jeez.
All right. So as you
Good job,
guys,
Vallista.
as you guys are keeping watch, Pax, you're keeping an eye generally on the group and your immediate surroundings, making sure that the kids are asleep and nothing's really bothering them. And Vallista seems to be able to focus at further distances. You both having enough knowledge of each other to know that Vallista can typically see further in the dark than you can, so it does make more sense that she's kind of keeping an eye out on the larger area surrounding you. You do notice that she seems to be talking to herself, whether she's praying or just talking to her little familiar or just going over what's been happening since you've been in these woods. You're not quite sure.
Alright.
What languages do you
I
speak?
probably activate a message to just be like, especially since we're at watches in different places, just be like, hey, you praying or talking to an animal? You good?
I'm fine.
Hey. Holler if you need backup. I'll keep this channel open.
Over.
Walkie-talkie message. I like it.
Do we have
Um,
nicknames for our walkie-talkie?
Oh, totally.
We'll come up with something.
As the first watch goes by uneventful, Pax, you see that it doesn't look like Philista is intending at least to go to sleep at the end of your watch. She still seems to be kind of keeping to herself and just every now and again kind of looks up. You can see that she takes in her surroundings, making sure that you guys are all keeping safe. And with that, your watch passes otherwise uneventful, and you yourself can go to sleep. Who is getting up second?
Naomi will take second watch.
Okay. You wake up, and at this point, you see that Sarah has come over. Sarah is asleep on you, and Kelly has just plop plop. You have these two small young girls just sleeping, one leaning up against your shoulder, just snoring and drooling all over your nice armor. The other one just kind of laying in your lap as you're sitting up against this tree, kind of just resting and getting up from your short rest that you finished before your watch started. You can see that Pax lays down, ready to pack it in for the night, and Villis is kind of sitting across from you, the other side of camp, just kind of keeping to herself. You both can roll me perception checks if you want, but it's the end, Naomi. Okay. Melissa, you've been keeping an eye out for a few hours at this point, so you have that inner confidence that if anything was going to happen, you probably were going to notice it by this point. Naomi, you see that Melissa does keep her eyes up and kind of looks around every now and again, but she seems to be just mumbling, and you've talked to yourself before. It's not out of the ordinary for people just to kind of talk things through, but you do hear some mumbles across the way, but it's nothing super loud. She is over across the way, kind of minding her own business.
Can I make it out?
You do not. So you can read her. You can read some lips from this distance, but it's dark enough, and you don't understand the language that she's speaking in.
Okay.
So it just kind of sounds like garbled gibberish to you. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of staying still for the girls so that they can rest, maybe gently petting the one that fell asleep in my lap, like gently rubbing her head, humming a song, and every now and then I reach over and I touch a rock that's near me and I just continuously cast light on it, so there's always like a dimness of light around us.
You do notice as the night kind of advances, it does get colder and colder as the fire kind of starts to not go out, but it's kind of burning down to its slow burning coals and embers, and there's still a little bit of heat. It doesn't really produce a lot of light, but it's producing enough heat just to kind of keep that chill away, but you are starting to get a little bit of frost kind of creeping up your armor here and there.
I look over at Simon and I give him a little nod, and he kind of like gets like very slowly to his 4 little feet and just kind of like stretches and gives a big yawn, and he kind of like trots over here and grabs a stick, goes over to the fire, drops it in, trots over here, grabs a stick, drops it in, goes over here, grabs a stick, trots it in, drops it in, and he kind of does that until he gets the fire going again, and then he'll settle back down and go back to his post.
It doesn't come to a roaring blaze by any means, but it does kind of regrow to a low, warm burning fire. It looks like the sticks that he tossed in there were almost a little wet, but they're still dry enough that they burn, and they're burning a little bit longer. There's a fair amount of smoke that's coming out because the stuff that he grabbed did have some moss on it and some greenery attached to it, so you're getting a lot of that smoke emitting from that fire, but you are still getting some fiery warmth that's kind of emitting and shedding those waves of heat every now and again onto you and the children. Mainly you and the children are keeping each other warm by like sharing body heat, but the heat does kind of caress over you every now and again, taking that chill away as it's starting to encroach upon you through your heavy armor. As you fall back asleep, Anthea, you awaken. Ballista and Anthea, you both can roll me perception checks.
Perception.
Jesus.
Oh,
Ballista's
Ballista.
focused. She's
She's
on fire
awake.
today. She's awake.
As you wake up, Anthea, you look over, and it doesn't look like Valista's been asleep yet. You can see that she's looking tired, but doesn't look like she has rested. Looks like she may have cried again since earlier when the situation with Jeremy happened. And you hear her kind of mumbling to herself, just kind of speaking. But as you look around, you notice the fire has started itself to die down, and it's getting very cold. You see that the remnants of the fire that are still left burning in the pit that you guys made are burning this light blue color, which is odd because normally blue flame burns very hot, but as you kind of creep a little bit closer to these blue flames, the fire is not emitting any sense of heat. It's almost like it's burning cold. And as you kind of put your hands around it, you being very attuned to nature, this is odd, this is different, this isn't something that normally occurs in any fire that you've ever seen outside of like a magical laboratory where they're doing this on purpose. This doesn't naturally happen out in the plains in nature. Nothing without otherwise being influenced causes a fire to burn cold. And as you focus on this cold fire, you see that this almost bubble kind of forms around all of you guys. Nothing that is too thick to see through. You see that it get the drawing tool here. It kind of is about this big. I think you guys can probably see that, hopefully.
Yep.
Cool. You see this
Yeah, we can see it.
this glittery bubble almost appears around all of you. And it kind of starts to snow a little bit. It's almost like you're inside of a snow globe. And as you look around, everyone's still very much asleep. It doesn't look like, as the snowflakes fall and land on the faces of your companions and on Simon and on the children, yourself as well, and Ballista, it doesn't look like the snowflakes themselves are cold enough to do anything to wake them up. And as you feel for the snow as it lands on your hands, it's almost this sense of comfort as it lands on your skin. It doesn't melt immediately, but it kind of absorbs into you and makes you feel this sense of curiosity. And Ballista, these snowflakes landing on you feel natural, feel welcoming, feel almost like they're calling to you.
I just slowly stand up. And I kind of undo the cloak on my one arm that has all the frost. And I kind of just close my eyes and kind of put my arms out and kind of start dancing in the frost.
Anthea, you see, for the first time since you've known her, Ballista almost looking unburdened and free, as you see this small smile kind of creep across her face as she removes the cloak from herself and just starts to dance in the snowfall.
The work of your prince?
I don't answer. I just have a big old smile on my face, eyes are closed, and I just keep dancing.
This is a little unnerving, despite the fact that Ballista seems calm with this. Is there, like, can I tell if anyone else is at risk of, like, freezing, or
It's
does
not
it seem to be, like, just
it's
nice light snow? It's not, like,
yeah, it's just a nice
blizzard.
light. It's just a nice light snowfall. It doesn't even really seem to be collecting on the ground or on any person. It kind of sits, lands, and just disappears. But it does continuously seem to be falling. And you see that the bubble that you could see through, the glittering bubble that was once transparent, is now becoming more white and blue, almost like you yourself are in this snow cloud. Not so much that you're snowblind, but you can kind of see that this barrier is there. And as you approach,
Can I
you
try
can
to touch it?
you can touch it. You can stick your hand through it. And as you put your hand through it, the temperature outside feels a little warmer, just slightly, not much, than the temperature in here. As you pull your hands back in, you do feel the temperature difference. It is cooler in this magical dome. It doesn't seem to be, if you poke your head out, it doesn't seem to be snowing or anything outside of this construct that you're in.
Okay. Well, it seems to be safe. As I look at Ballista again. And then sort of try to stoke the fire a little and then settle in and just watch really closely to make sure nobody seems to be freezing, but it seems to be safe. So I'm not going to wake anybody up.
Okay. As you're sitting there stoking the flames, you start to hear what sounds like purring buried in snow, mixed with almost like an icicle being pulled through gravel. Kind of this vocal pattern that seems to be speaking, but you don't understand what it says. And as this voice kind of carries softly through this dome that has been created, you see that over here, a door starts to form very slowly, but a door does begin to form right there out of snow. As this door slowly builds out of snow, that only in this one place does it seem to be collecting. It seems to be magically rising itself up, and you see that this frame, once complete, seems to be made with this dark blackish bluish ice, and the door itself almost that of sheer glass, looking to what you would imagine an ice door would look like. And you see that it just kind of cracks open, and
Gonna ready a weapon in case anything jumps out.
okay, you feel this cold breeze blow through quite strongly. The fire flickers for a second, and snow kind of permeates out of it. And the voice gets a little bit louder, but nothing comes through the door. Ballista, you understand the voice that is speaking, and everything that has been said so far is from a voice that you recognize, a voice that you've had in your head since you were a child, since you first started developing these powers, since you first started leaning on another for support, since you first were gifted your frozen companion in hail. And the voice says, "You can join me if you wish. The door is always open, but I cannot promise that I can return you. Not today. You're welcome whenever you want to be, we can find another to fulfill the plans. If it is what you truly desire, the door is always open for you to. You must just be the one to walk through it. And that is when the door itself opened and that cool breeze kind of blew through.
I kind of finish my dance with a little flourish. And I open my eyes and I see the door. And I take some steps in front. And I look at Anthea. And I say, "It is fine. All is fine. All of you will be just okay, but it is my time. He is calling to me, and
Will you go? Where will you go? Can you not get us out of here? Also?
I am going to my new home. I am going to the prince." And I turn, and I walk inside.
As you
Not gonna stop him. Or her, sorry.
as you walk through the door, I'm gonna move the stupid door out of here because it's in my way. As you see Ballista opening the door, Naomi, you awaken to Simon barking in your head for Ballista opening a door. And as you awake, you see Ballista, and you barely hear what Ballista says to Anthea, that she's going to her new home with the prince, and she opens the door. And you see Anthea taking no action with which to stop Ballista. And Ballista steps through the door. And as Ballista steps through the door, it closes behind her, and it, in of itself, it disappears. You notice at this point that the area around you is snowing, and there's this weird globe around you that's kind of keeping you all not. It looks like a barrier, but you obviously don't know because you haven't explored it. But it's almost like you are being snowed on, but it doesn't feel that much colder than what it was. But you no longer see Ballista as she steps through to somewhere. And as she steps through and disappears, you see that the snow itself slowly starts to slow down and stop, and then the barrier around you just disappears. And all remaining right now with you is yourself, Anthea, Pax, the 3 children, and Simon.
Simon,
You
you're a
look
bad
from the
guard
sun.
dog.
He
Get one job.
you see him just cover his eyes with his paws, and you hear him sulking in your head. And the sun, as you look over, starts to just break over the horizon. And the spooter is so he still has vision to see what's going on the map, because his token no longer has vision on the map. The spooter is a vision token.
Okay, the
Poor guy.
all-seeing scooter.
The all-seeing Theo. But you see that these rays of the sun come over the horizon, but they're not that bright. It's still very, very dimly lit, almost like it's dusk, but you see the sun rising. But it almost looks like it went from night to dusk again. Instead of a sunrise, it's like a sunset, but the sun itself is rising, so it's very confusing for your senses. That's not normal. And you and Anthea awaken with Ballista now gone. what do you do?
I just woke up like, hello, who's making breakfast?
Mhm.
Is there leftover fungi stir fry?
Yeah, if you want there to
What I
be.
miss? You look
Oh,
all-
surprised.
You all
Ballista
do have
went
a
in
long
a door. So Ballista seems to have gone.
Door.
Door, magic things, strangeness. I thought I'd let you sleep though. And honestly, I have no idea what's up with her and she scares me a little bit, so I think it's for the best that we just focus on getting out of here.
Well, that's an eventful night. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll explain like the snow globy thing
Okay.
and the
Yeah. Pax's food would be odd. It's like, what? No. Really? Okay. What a great story. But
Amazing.
also sad to lose a team member.
I mean, yeah. She definitely came in handy, but at the same time, I don't think it's good to force somebody to use their powers who has been forced to use their powers for other people. It sounds like she needs to work on herself.
As you guys are all waking up, the children are also stirring, and they look for some leftover day-old fungi stir fry. And you all benefit from the effects of a long rest. You have all leveled up to level 10, and you all have 5 temporary hit points from your fungi stir fry. I can add temporary hit points to your bar because you need those. But what would you guys like to do?
Well, children, which do we continue down through the forest? There's fewer of us now, but we are still committed to protecting you and seeing you home.
They look around and like, oh, Jeremy's friend left. Well, okay, I guess. Yeah, we just go this way. It'll be a little while, probably a day before we get to where we need to be, but we can go whenever you guys are ready to go.
I'll look to Naomi and Thea. I guess we might as well. It seems like there's no way to recover Ballista.
Yeah, let us go.
Okay, so I'm gonna move you guys all together so that you are in an easier grouping. I'm also gonna bring Theo, the fun spider guy, with you.
Whee!
As you guys make your way through the forest, following the path, it doesn't ever really seem to get any brighter, even though you can see the sun moving in the sky. It doesn't get any brighter at all. It just stays that same dusky light levels. And you guys eventually make your way to... You start to hear the sloshing of water. And you see Sarah, the youngest of the children, get very, very excited at the sound of water. And she seems to know exactly where you are. And you guys all find yourself on a small beach
Ooh,
down here.
beach episode.
And you guys can see that the light here is still very dim. It's still close to dark. You see that this interests you the most, Anthea. You see that these rocks have this bioluminescent fungus growing on them that seems to permeate a little bit of light out onto the water.
Can
And
I
you see
collect
over...
some?
Oh, 100%. You can collect some bioluminescent
I'm already
water.
scraping it off and like stuffing some of it in my hat.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
study later.
You scrape off some bioluminescence fungus, and the interesting thing about this fungus is when you scrape it, it regenerates, like it was never gone. So, if you scrape it off, you do notice though that there are a couple of boats over there, and you see that the kids kind of start making their way over towards the boats, and you hear them say, "We have to take the boats across the water. It's dangerous, but we can probably make it if we go."
Why is it dangerous?
Have you ever been on a boat?
I assume I've been on an airship, I guess. But DM, have I been on a boat? I imagine I've been on lots of boats, actually.
Yeah, it's just a canoe. So,
Okay.
oh wait,
well, kid, let me tell you about boats. When
That's
it's
why.
small, you keep your center of
There-
gravity low.
there's the boats.
I'm going to teach kid about boat.
There were boats there. I put them on the wrong layer. But there are canoes over here, little boats that you see over here.
Boats.
Boats. And they're just like, yeah, don't rock them. That's how you fall in the water. And as
And
you,
stay low and move slow. We're doing boat safety.
right, as you guys look in this water, or make the boats a little bit bigger, just so you can have actual like space on them. You see that each boat is big enough for about 3 adults, but between the 3 of you and the 3 kids and Simon, you can fit on the boats. But you are going to need somebody to row each boat. Looking at them, you see there are oars with these boats. The water itself seems uncomfortably calm, and the water does not seem like you can see down it. It's very dark. The water itself is very dark, not a lot of light in it. The sunlight does not seem to permeate the water surface, but is very calm.
Well, who's most seaworthy? It feels like I guess we need to split up.
You see Brandon jumps on this boat with
No.
Kelly, and then Sarah jumps over here. Just
Wait for
right along.
adults before entering. Okay.
Let me just. I think I can get us some help to make the boats go. If you'd like me to try something, then we wouldn't have to worry about
Like what?
if it capsizes or anything. Well, I could try to conjure some animals that could swim to help us push the boats along and make sure we're not going to all fall out. Would that be helpful?
And you see the kids get very excited at the sound of
That's
that.
good.
And like, you can control the fish?
Well,
Their eyes get real big, like they want you to control the fish because they're children. So,
I love it. Okay.
and you see that they're like getting super excited, and this is the most lively children. And they seem legitimately happy and excited, and they're all like hands on their knees, just waiting, just staring at you
Just, like,
uncomfortably long,
staring.
without blinking.
Okay.
They're just staring at you.
I mean, we could just
Intensity.
row the boat, but this is more fun. Yeah, so basically I want to conjure animals, and I want to do some kind of shark, probably.
Okay.
Let's see. So I can do, I'm just gonna pop it in here and see if it, there we go.
You can summon
Maybe some
octopus
half-blood.
if you want to.
Oh my god.
You can summon one beast. You can summon 8 octopi if you want to. 4 things of half CR, 2 of 1, or 1 of 2. So you could basically summon 2 giant octopi if you want to.
Ooh, let's do that.
Or
And then
giant
they can-
antheas that could pull them, or giant glebas that could pull them. Because that's what. Reef
And-
sharks, seahorses, summon whatever you want.
Alright, let's do, well, they requested fish.
Dolphins.
I feel like some sharks would be fun. Oh yeah, are dolphins? Where would they be? They're not on here.
You want to do sharks?
Yeah, let's do sharks.
You want hammerhead or regular sharks?
Regular sharks, please. Awesome.
All right. So you have two
Shark
giant sharks that you
buddies.
just summoned and just roped. I like to imagine that you guys summoned them and then you lassoed the sharks to the boats and gave the
Yes.
lassos to the children because they wanted to steal them from you.
Absolutely.
And you see that these sharks, as you summon them, they are giant sharks. Like they're large creatures. Actually, so they should be a little bit bigger than the boats, just because I want them to be. As you summon them, you notice that there's something different about these sharks. That these sharks seem to have on their head, where there would be like a hat, there seems to be a giant bulbous mushroom on top of each of them.
Ooh.
That seems to be like your connection to
Aw.
these sharks to control them. Almost like it's a control mushroom beacon that lets you
Mushroom
tell them
shark.
what to do.
Remote control mushroom shark.
Mhm.
Love it. All right. Well, shark friends, here to help. Naomi, do you want to go with the children? They seem to really like you.
For the
On the
first-
boat, I mean.
For the first time in this entire adventure, Naomi looks petrified.
Uh-oh.
Absolutely terrified.
Uh-oh.
Are you okay, Naomi?
Well, to be quite frank, no.
What's the issue?
Is it the water or the boats or the kids?
Well,
Kids can be scary.
if it was the kids, I would be having a much different reaction far earlier. It's the water.
Oh.
Can you swim,
Okay.
Naomi?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we can help. We might have magic or something.
Yeah. Shark friends are good. If you fall, they can swim and you can grab onto them. That kind of helps with that.
I could do this.
Oh yes, you do. Do it.
We'll get the kids to do a
Motivation.
little demonstration of see how easy it is to learn to swim, and here's how you can do a starfish on your back. Take off your armor maybe so you don't sink so much. So we're gonna do a little impromptu swim class.
She kind of like looks down her armor, looks back up at you guys, and she's like, "No, I'm not taking it off. Like, no, this has kept me this kept me alive far too long. I'm not taking it off." Yes, this is. I would prefer not to be the one with the children because I feel like I may not be able to protect them in this time.
Well, I'll go with the children. That's fine.
I will go with Naomi, and if anything happens, I'll be right there, and I can help you, and sharks can help you.
Yeah, and we'll have animated tree friend, whose name I totally didn't forget. He can also fly, so he'll be hanging out. Extra help.
Perfect. So helpful.
Oh yeah, Iggy. That's right, Iggy for Yggdrasil.
Yeah.
Aha.
I forgot. It was such a good name, I forgot.
Here, I'm gonna go ahead and just do this so we don't forget ever again. Iggy. His name has been
Yay.
changed on his token. It now says Iggy, so we have forever memory because I also forgot what his name was.
E.
All right. Admittedly, I am beyond terrified. Oh boy. She's just like staring at the boats. Very not wanting to get in them, very not wanting to get anywhere near the river.
It'll be okay. I can always cast animate objects to make you and your armor float. Says Pax, hoping that Naomi will believe him. Nope.
My passive insight is 14. I just
Oh,
look at you and
no.
just like, no. Well, if Miss Anthea thinks that the sharks can help, then... Okay. She's shaking so hard you can hear the clamoring of the plate mail.
Okay. Can we also have Doggo Friend with us? Because I'm assuming Doggo Friend would be good for swimmy things if needed.
In
Sure.
You can
Naomi's
hold on
head,
tight.
in Naomi's head, she hears, "I can swim. Simon, swim good."
Simon swim.
Yeah, hold on to Simon, and between Simon and Sharks and Iggy, we got this.
He like jumps up on her, and you just see her face, like that giant tongue, just like right up along the side of her face, and it's just completely covered in just dog slobber, like mastiff slobber. And she looks
Yes,
like she's
Simon.
calmed down a little bit, but not much.
Certified therapy dog.
Yes. I'm therapy.
He does have a jacket.
Okay.
Alright.
And then Anthea's gonna oops, that's the light. Nope, that's the light again. Okay. Can I like try to stand like kind of in the shallows and like really hold the boat stable for Naomi?
Yeah, 100%.
Just like really. Okay.
Um,
I'm trying very hard to make everything okay. So you gotta step in the middle of the boat so that it doesn't tip, because it can be a little tippy.
oh great.
Don't worry, just stay in the middle. No, it's okay. Simon! And just like call Simon over to help.
It's coming! And he bumps into her, which forces
Oh,
makes her
God.
tumble into the boat. And
Roll
she
a
gets...
dexterity saving throw.
Okay. 23! Woo!
You stumble into the boat, and as you stumble in, you see that Sarah like catches under your face, so you don't face plant into it, and you like automatically shunt both your arms out and brace yourself, and you catch both sides of the boat, and you're looking like 3 inches from face planting onto the oaken bottom of this boat. Which, as you stare, there is some water in here. There's some sand. There's a couple little crabs. It doesn't look as sturdy as you once may have thought, but it also doesn't look like it's rotting.
Naomi quickly gets up and she sits on like one of the little pedestal things, so she's like facing backwards so she can focus like directly on Anthea. But unfortunately we didn't think this all the way through, because Simon goes, "I'm coming!" and he like takes off and he like jumps and he lands basically in Naomi's lap, rocking the boat pretty vigorously because
Aw.
he's a giant mastiff and doesn't understand what's going on. He just knows that he wants to be with Naomi.
Sarah go, "Wee! Don't rock the boat, baby!" As she's like almost falling off, trying to not fall in the water.
I've decided I'm leaving.
Again.
for good.
Naomi lets out a scream of terror and just like wraps herself essentially entirely around Simon. She's terrified.
Oh.
All right. So as you guys get in there, I assume Pax and Iggy are hopping into the other boat with the children. I'll go ahead and move you guys over into this other boat too. I'm gonna take Spooder Friend too, so you can see what's going on in the world.
Spooder friend, spooder friend.
That's
All right.
Red Spook does.
So as you guys take off, choo-choo, choo-choo, choo-choo. I'm gonna put these lights with you over here, so you have them just floating around. No, go back to boat life. Cool. So you guys, as you get out onto the water, the weather begins to change. You see that the sun that was there starts to get covered by clouds. Um, and it starts to rain audibly, very loudly. Um, and you're getting wetter and wetter and wetter and cold as you hear thunder cracks above and lightning cracks above as the water itself starts to get a little bit less calm. Um, but
That's not good.
you guys continue your boat travels across here. Go ahead and 3 of you make perception checks for me.
Jen.
I would argue that Naomi can't because she is just clutching onto Simon for dear life. So if you'd like, I'll have Simon roll, but Naomi, there's absolutely no way that she's looking. She's petrified.
Simon is licking your face, trying to keep you safe and secure. So we'll just say you just don't roll.
You'll be fine.
With those rolls, actually you see the other side, the little bit of light that's kind of permeating from the glowing rocks on the other bank over there. Same as the rocks before. You see them. Because you're focusing on making sure, with the weather getting bad, and you're really the person in control of this boat, making sure that the children don't fall out, that you and Iggy are directing the shark the right way, so you have a beeline to where you're going. And Thea, you see Naomi trying to, not fall out the boat, freaking out because it's raining and it's getting colder and windier and more blustery. But as you're doing that and kind of keeping an eye out, kind of following the trail that Pax is making for you guys. Oh no, come back.
Ah!
No. Yeah, see if it'll. Nope, it won't let me take them all separate. Whatever, it's fine. So you see Pax's boat's a little bit ahead of you. Let's just think of it that way. He's a solid, he's about halfway to here where you guys are behind. So you're kind of following Pax's lead right now on boat stuff. But you do see, only for a quick second, over here, this dark shadow of some amorphous figure in the water. You're not quite sure what it is, but the shadow itself was very long. It looked to be maybe a tendril of sorts. You're not quite sure, but for as far as you can see, deep into the water from where you are, it was easily 40 feet plus just from whatever this tendril was in this dark, unseeable water. You just saw the shadow kind of.
Eep. Okay.
Oh.
I'll share as much with the group.
So that's what you saw, Anthea, Pex, as you were directing the group. You see some fish every now and again, but Anthea is the one who saw that dark tendril off in the distance.
Anthea, okay.
13, yeah.
You let us know, Anthea?
Oh, I see the thing?
Yeah, you see the tendril.
Oh,
that's at
yeah.
least 40 feet long.
I'm gonna... Oh, shoot. Is there a way to tell Pax without telling Naomi? Because I don't want
I
her
have
to panic.
message. You could
Probably
just
not.
wave to me and give a knowing look, and I could message back.
Making tentacle with my arms. I'm making blub blub in the water tentacles.
It seemed like it's coming towards you. It seemed to be kind of swimming off the other way, so it doesn't seem like it's coming your way. But you did just see this really long 40+ foot tendril shadow kind of just permeate deep into the water.
Inside.
With an 11, you don't really make out too much. She's dancing in the rain, maybe trying to distract Naomi. Maybe you don't know.
I'll dance as well.
Yes.
Roll a bit of a vine dance.
Roll me a performance.
Okay.
Roll me a performance check. I want to see how well you dance in the rain.
Anthea or Pax?
Plus 12.
Oh my god, Pax, yes!
Pax is dancing with Iggy on this boat in the rain, and you see his whole boat start rocking as all 4 of them start dancing. And then the shark just gets frustrated and just pulls harder, and just kind of all of you lurch forward a minute, not falling, but you all lurch, and you can tell you hear.
Sorry, Mom.
If you can imagine what it would sound like for a shark to be laughing under their breath, imagine that sound as they just lurch you forward. But as time goes, you're on the lake for probably an hour because the storm prolongs your travel. But you do eventually make it across the way. And I will just individually pop all you over here because I don't want to drag the boats onto shore. You do all make it over across the land. Naomi's probably kissing the land if I had to imagine. Hey, look, a shark came.
100%.
Land shark!
Land shark. It's a beer. It's a good one. So the sharks eventually,
I
if
give
you
them
want,
little pats on the head.
and then they disappear.
Oh,
You want them to stay?
ooh. I wanted. Can I send one of them to go check out and see if they see anything?
Yep, they have about 10 minutes
if I
left
do-
before
Am I
before
able to
the spell's
communicate
gone.
with them? Let me just check.
I'm gonna just say they're considered fey. They're friendly to you. I'm gonna say they obey verbal commands that you issued. So sure, we'll say that if you say go see this, go investigate, we'll say they get one sentence back to you, and that's all they can say because they're just fey summoned
Okay.
sharks.
Yeah, I'll send them back just out of curiosity to see what was there. Because I'm curious and I need to know for science.
Science. Okay, so do you want me to tell you out loud, or do you want to know in your head?
Ooh. Sure, in my head.
Okay, I'll
From
whisper it.
sharks.
I will whisper it to you. All right. So what are you guys doing as you all arrive on that side?
I just want to say I almost just
Give high fives to the
instinctually
kids for
answered
not
that
barking.
question.
Good job, kids. We did it. Yay. Have some snacks.
All right. And the sharks
Okay.
disappeared into the water. You know what the
Thank
sharks
you,
told you
sharkies.
based on what they saw. So you can share that or not. That is
I'll draw a
up
little
to-
sketch in my book of it just to be like, interesting.
Cool. Cool. All right. I gotta make a note now to see.
I'm not hiding it, but I'm not telling Naomi because I don't want her to be more scared of water.
I'm not anywhere close. I'm like as far away as I can get without like leaving the party.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm like
in that case,
far away.
in that case, I'll show Pax my drawing and be like, "This is what the sharks described to me. It seems to be some kind of creature that lives in the water around here." So
I sent Pax the message too. So what she's showing you is what I just whispered you in Roll20, Pax. That is what she is describing to you based on this image. So just so you also know what it is based on
fascinating.
that description. So,
It did not seem aggressive, which is good.
you see that the kids are excited to be back on this side of the lake. You see that they... Oh no, I don't have everyone. I hate when Roll20 does not take all the tokens with me. That's real obnoxious. Alright, so... you guys eventually get to this side. The kids want to take a quick break for a minute just so they can get a snack. So they sit down, they take a snack, they eat, and you do a little bit of patrol. And then they need to find their bearings too. So eventually, you guys... It still rains. The rain has not dampened or diminished. But you do eventually keep following this path more northward. You see that the ground, it's just soggy, it's muddy, it is difficult terrain to walk through, just been pouring down rain for quite some time at this point. But eventually, you do get to what looks to be the ruin, not even ruins, but the dilapidated version of some village here. I know.
Okay?
I've used this map before in different.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. This is the second map that I've seen so far today.
But it worked.
It worked.
But it worked.
I'm not arguing that at all. I just find it very funny. That is all.
Right. There aren't sexy orcs to swoon your way through this time.
Gosh darn it! I mean, we're literally like a class of almost charisma casters. So like, yeah.
Right. All right. So as you guys,
Where's Simon?
Oh, I forgot to bring Simon. See, he doesn't bring every token.
Sadness.
All right.
Sad bears.
I know. All right. Let's see here. All right. So Simon is right there. Cool. As you guys approach this town, you see that the kids get very excited, and they start talking amongst themselves like, "We're home! We've made it! We're finally home!" And they run ahead, off into looks to be this busted up village of a town, and they kind of run off in the distance, way ahead of you. I'm gonna.
I'll sort of try to yell after them, like, please be careful, there might be sharp nails or something.
And I'm gonna GM layer them for a minute as they just run out
Oh
like
no.
through the town down these roads.
Be safe. Oh,
Right.
Please don't
They're
run.
so as-
Ah.
Right. They all kind of disappear off into the way. As you guys get into this town, you see that it looks abandoned. It looks destroyed. It looks like something or someone has come through and destroyed the majority of this town. As you look around, just upon entering, you see that there is a sign, very, very busted up, very old. The wood looks very, very rotten. And you see that it says, "Welcome to Yarpston." Population 115. What do you guys want to do?
Explore. I will hop on Iggy and fly around a bit and see what we have. Get an aerial view.
Okay.
Fly and scout.
All right. What were you
I
doing
can't
now?
spell.
I'm gonna do my blurp.
And that goes 60 feet.
I'd probably walk like 5, 10, 15, 20. I'd probably get like there with Simon beside me and then do my blurp.
Blurp, 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 blurp. All right. You do not in that range do not detect anything of that nature.
Great. I'm gonna turn off my blurp. Bye blurp.
Orb.
No blurp for you. All right. Yeah. So you don't detect that, and you guys are free for this town as you fit. And I will tell you what you see if you want to go anywhere particular or.
Anything from my aerial reconnaissance? Things moving or
As you
potential
are,
groups?
I'm gonna move you just like over here just to say that's kind of where you're floating right now. As you do some aerial reconnaissance, you see there's a fountain here, which looks like a combination of a fountain and a well, maybe. From where you are, without going down and looking at it specifically, you can't quite tell, but it looks like it's some source of water. A lot of these
Okay.
buildings no longer have roofs. They seem to have been destroyed. There are remnants of houses and living quarters inside of all of these. But flying around, you
Okay.
see that this may have been a shop of sorts. This was probably a residence. This house here also had remnants of beds and some furniture, maybe. This down here in the bottom left corner, right here, was some sort of place of worship. You can't quite see any sigils or anything from where you are. There is this statue here with a giant crack in the earth quite close to it. And you see over here there are some gravestones right there.
Okay.
You see that there are gravestones here, and there are more graves back in this section back here. It's a little makeshift graveyard. I'm putting a different layer. But yes. And you don't see the children anywhere. Anthea, what are you doing? Where do you want to be?
Let's see. I would like to. Perhaps I will ask Naomi after she's done her bloop or her thing.
Bloop.
Shall we put Gleba with Simon again and get them to scout ahead for us?
think that would be a good idea. Despite it being empty, I wouldn't really qualify this place as dangerous. Then again, we're not in my kingdom, so I can't really speak to full fruition on that.
So it seems safe. There's nothing bad that you're sensing.
Nothing at least around here in particular. I'll check as we get a little further into town, but I mean, if this is the children's home, it can't particularly be bad. At least I would hope not.
Does it look like
I wonder
this?
how long
Why is
ago
it
it was
so
their home.
destroyed?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem very safe for children.
People take refuge in unexpected places in tough times. Maybe that's the situation that we're dealing with here.
Yeah, true. All right. In that case, I will just start to head towards one of the houses. Let's say this one because it's.
Okay. So you moved to that house. Are you moving Simon and Gleba somewhere?
We could have Simon and Gleba go as like a separate scout, or Naomi said it's not really a big deal. So maybe let's not do that yet.
Okay. Cool. So as you guys start scouting ahead, everybody go ahead and make me perception checks, please.
Perception.
Perception.
Ooh!
7.
Deceptive.
Hey.
Nothing gets by you.
Well, he's up in the air right now. As you're looking around Pax, you kind of made your way over. I'm gonna say you're over here at this point because you've been kind of scouting the whole place. You see that of these 4 graves, these gravestones, that for a split second, it looked like you saw, just as you're starting to fly up and kind of out the corner of your eye when you first noticed it, looked like you saw something run into them, but there's nothing there. And as you're starting to look around a little bit more from your position, you see that there are footprints that have kind of just appeared, that are in different spots throughout the grounds, based on like in this mud, because it is raining pretty hard. You do see that there are footprints, almost like patrol footprints, like somebody has been patrolling this area. There's only one set of footprints that you can see, even coming in from behind where you guys were. You see your footprints ahead of where you are, where you haven't walked yet, where you saw the children run. There are absolutely 0 footprints. But going in different directions, kind of down here and back up and here, you kind of see that there are some footprints that have kind of made their way just kind of like this, from what you can see from where you are right now. But nobody in your party has walked anywhere in that general direction, and you've been flying, so it hasn't been you. But you can see these footprints, pretty heavy sunken footprints into the mud.
I'll point that out to the rest of the group for sure.
So you guys hear.
I shall message it, might as well, since I'm in range, and if there's baddies, I will open the Discord call. Flying tree to ground troops.
So you message that observation to Anthea and to Naomi, and you get this.
Yes.
You both independently, because you can't do it at the same time, but you both independently get this observation of what looks like to be patrol footprints, and that you don't see the footprints of Brandon, Sarah, and Kelly anywhere. And then there are 4 gravestones with other graveyard-esque things up behind it, but doesn't see anybody at this time, including the children. Does not see them either.
Yes, make sure to include that.
What building did the children run into?
They just ran this way in general. So you saw them kind of run off this way, but you didn't see where they went because they basically ran ahead as soon as they saw the town when you guys were still probably a couple hundred feet away. So they took off into the town way ahead of you guys.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, so you just know they ran down this road. But you also, looking around now, based on what Pax told you, there are no footprints ahead of you. There are no children's footprints. There are no adult footprints. There's no footprints in this mud where there should be in your immediate vicinity. There's nothing ahead of you. Thinking back, there's also no footprints that you followed into this town from these children.
That is very sus.
I will look back at Anthea, because I can't talk to Pax because he's so far up, but I will wave him down in a second, and I look back at Anthea and I say, I can try to call for the children. I can make my voice rather loud. Do you want me to see if I can call for them to come back out?
I mean, there doesn't seem to be anything else around, so I suppose so.
Alright, I will wave up at Pax to get his attention for the radio signal.
I'll write her down and say, is the eagle safe to land? I mean, should I come down?
I actually had an idea if you wanted to keep your eyes in the skies. Do you want me to call out for the children, see if we can't get them back out? We can figure out where they went and maybe that can direct us to their family.
Good idea.
Okay, stay up there because you'll be able to spot them quicker than we will.
Roger that.
Great, and I will take a deep breath and cast thaumaturgy and call out for the children. And Sarah, Kelly, Brandon, we're here, but we lost you upon entering town.
Okay. As you call out these names, you hear some laughter coming from this direction. But here, I think, is a good place for us to take a break for a few minutes.
Bathroom break.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break, and then we will pick up in, let's say, quarter after. So
Sounds
12
good.
minutes.
Sounds good. See ya
House.
on the 15 mark.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're back. So, you guys were excuse me, meandering this way. Naomi had just yelled real loud using thaumaturgy, calling out for the children, but you got no response. What do you do?
I kind of look up at Pax, like kind of giving him a look of like, did you see anything?
No. Oh, no, I didn't.
Huh. I'm gonna put my foot down a little harder and recast Divine Sense and see if I sense anything again.
Okay. You don't.
Not in my 60-foot aura.
Nope.
Bummers.
Not in your 60 feet aura.
Yep. Just gonna put that there so I can mark it off. OT. Simon, go check that house there. And you go, in her head she hears, OT! And he just like clombers off, like the dorky little mastiff he is. I'm going! I found door! Is the door open?
It's open. Yes.
Yep. The door is open! I go inside! And he will stick his giant head inside and look around.
Okay. You see a broken down, dilapidated house with moldy woods and dirt and bugs.
This smells in here. It's odd. It's falling apart. I come out now. He comes back out and just sits in the middle of the walkway, just slaps his butt down, like dust goes and he just stares at Naomi. His tail's just like smacking against the dust, just pew, 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 pew. She just kind of looks over at Anthea and says, well, apparently that house is run down and very messy. At least that's what Simon says. So I'm assuming no one's there, or else he would have lost his absolute mind and went and greeted them. So I'm not quite sure what's going on.
Can I try to go like door to door in these houses here?
Sure.
Kind of poking my head in. So I'll start with this one here.
All
Poke my
right.
head in.
All right.
If the door's open.
Yeah, all these doors are open. There's not really anything locked and broken and busted. Go ahead and roll for me a D100 3 times. Roll me 3 D100s.
Okay. 29, 80, 47.
29, 80, and 47. Okay, so you find, as you're looking around this house, you find kind of buried and hidden in a cabinet that seems to be in like a bedroom. And in the cabinet, you are kind of moving your hands around and you feel a false bottom, which may have previously been working well, but this house is busted down and looks old and dilapidated. But you find 3 things in this underneath this false bottom. There is a jewelry box that has the following: a gold anklet worth 20 gold pieces. There's also a diamond bracelet worth 25 gold pieces, and an iron brooch worth 2 gold pieces. And that's all that is in this house, other than like worn, moth-eaten clothing and plants that have started taking over that don't look healthy, but they also don't look like necrotic-y or anything like that.
Right, I suppose no one's using these, so I will pocket them and show the others when I return.
Okay.
I'll step back out. kind of see what they're up to.
All right. What are the two of you doing?
Probably land and start exploring once I see Anthea kind of poking her nose in, since there's no aerial threats at this time.
Yeah, Naomi will go and try to knock on the door of this house, and she'll send Simon down this way.
Okay. You knock on that house,
Mhm.
and there's no one in there. You can walk in.
Okay, I will venture inside.
Okay, so you venture inside this small house, which there is a busted up bedroom and bathroom, and I need you to also roll me just 1d100.
You got it. Bum, 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 bum.
This is why I had to go get my books, guys. They have all these tables.
25.
Hablas.
You found a lapis lazuli bracelet worth 150 gold pieces.
Ooh.
Did I find it like laying on the ground? Was it in like a chest? Like what?
It looked to be in a drawer in the broken down bedroom. There wasn't much else around there. You found it in just like the side drawer of the table at the side of the bed. It looked like whoever owned this at some point probably wore it regularly. It looks like it's been worn, but it's still in very good condition. Just it looks like it's made of really, really nice materials. I would tell you it is worth 150 gold pieces. So you find a lapis lazuli bracelet, but it looks worn. It looks like it belonged to someone, but it doesn't look like it's seen the light of day in a long time because it's also covered in dust. So,
I will shut the drawer and leave it there and exit. I will not take it.
okay. And Pax, where are you headed?
Let's see here. Check out Big House. Since I'm still on Iggy, we'll fly through roof of Big House and land inside and look around.
Okay.
That's all. Get back to
So-
ground.
That's cool. All right, so you fly into the big house, and as you're looking around, roll me a D100 as well. This house looks to be more of like there are many, many beds here. It looks to have been either something that was the equivalent of like a barracks or maybe an orphanage. There are lots
Okay.
of old dilapidated pieces of fabric. Roll me a D10 as well. Nice. When you are
Hey.
when you're looking through on each of these beds, you see that there is as you look closer, these beds on the upper floor are smaller, like they're made for children or teens, not fully grown adults, because these beds themselves they're shorter. You find 10 coyote pelt blankets. So like
Oh,
someone had treated coyote
interesting.
pelts and turned them into like throw blankets, and you found 10 of them. And they look like they were treated well enough with whatever and tanning materials that most of them are in pretty good condition. Like they're not brand new by any means. They're very well worn, and they're very well used, but they're not like moldy or anything. They're just covered in dirt. Like when you get a really dusty rug and you just beat the crap out of it and you get all the dirt and dust that you can
Yeah.
not breathe in, blast out. It looks like that. So you get 10 of those coyote pelt throw blankets. So,
Okay.
as
I'll
as
take
you-
one to hopefully comfort the children when we find them, and probably leave the rest.
okay, you're gonna leave the 9 so you just take the 1. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So as you guys are kind of investigating, you start to hear like laughing from this general direction of the town. It's not like super loud or obnoxious, but it sounds similar to the children.
Ooh. I will alert the group to that and head in that direction. That was this way, right?
It was in the corner where you just were. Top right.
Oh, okay. I'll go check that out. See what is there.
So you guys get messages from Pax, and you hear it as well. That there's some laughter kind of emanating from this general direction where he told you there were like the remnants of a graveyard.
Ooh. Yeah, I will also go look.
I will also follow.
Okay.
And my axe.
And my axe.
And my mushroom hat.
Does Simon spot anything wandering into this area?
No, it's just a pretty well destroyed home. It looks like this may have been a workshop of sorts. There's like an old workbench, some stones that may have been whetstones at one point. You're not quite sure. He's not quite sure. He's not super smart. There are a couple weapon hilts and bits of iron and steel laying around, but nothing that's formed or utilitarian in any real way.
Awesome. He grabs one of the hilts of the swords in his mouth and takes off running towards Naomi. And as soon as he gets to her, he drops it at her feet, wanting to play fetch.
Aw.
She picks
He
it up
does
and throws it, just for the sake of throwing it.
All right. I'm gonna roll a d4. Just because I want to see where it goes. Two. Roll a d10. It's gonna be how many squares he's gonna end up going. 9 squares. So you just yeet it up here. It's all the way up here. So Simon goes bam, just takes off running to chase the thing. He drops and you just like yeet, get out of here. So like throw it up there. Simon runs off. You guys, and there Simon just like barrels past you, chasing after something, and you just see slobber go everywhere. You get some on your shoes, just charges past. Anyway. So you guys make your way over here. What you doing over here?
What a D.
D's, roll investigation
Upgrade
checks.
marker thing. Okay, can do.
Ooh, I bad at these.
4.
Wow, I'm not bad at these. Okay. Yay! Yay for high
So
investigation.
as you guys all look at these, you see names that you recognize. You see one says Sarah, one says Kelly, one says Brandon, and one says Jeremy. It looks like you can barely make it out. The writing itself is pretty faded and pretty scratched and pretty weathered. These stones look like they've been here for decades upon decades upon decades. And you kind of hear laughter, and then you see for a quick second, all three of them pop their heads out, and they're like, "Hey, it's you guys. Thank you. Now we can go see our family again, finally. Bye." And they just lay back down and just fade into the stones. But you also notice, looking around, that there is this other stone over here where it looks like the headstone itself has been broken in half and part of it fallen to the ground. There it is, right there. Part of it fallen to the ground, and it looks like the dirt beneath it has been disturbed, like something was dug out of it. And as you guys are looking around, kind of looking at this, you see coming from this gravestone, there are footprints that seem to track the patrol path that you saw, Pax. And as you guys kind of look around, you hear sloshing through the mud a humanoid character from down in the general direction where Simon was, but Simon did not see this person. And as you look down, Dragon, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Would you like me to explain what I look like?
Ooh.
Or
So-
actually introduce
you-
myself.
So I'll do a little bit of intro narration for you real fast. So you see this character wielding a sword and shield, kind of walking from the south up to where you guys are. And as you're staring at him, Anthea, you get this weird sensation of remembrance, almost. Like deja vu almost, but not
What?
quite. As you look at Dragon, he walks the same, holds his weapon the same, and holds his shoulders back and stands tall just the same way as your younger brother, but this is an adult man who looks eerily similar,
No.
but weathered and grizzled. You get that feel of familiarity, but different. Now you can go ahead and say what you're doing, Dragon.
All right. Well, as I walk up, I clearly see everyone. Correct.
Correct.
I would kind of, slowly be walking my path that I take, and I would shout out to the figures I see. Greetings. It is good to see new faces in this town, but I must warn you, there are dangers about.
Darkness.
Uh-oh.
Is it suddenly dark?
And you not see anything anymore?
Well, there's just a layer of
Well, it looks
shadow.
like nighttime.
Yeah, I have
Oh,
a layer
no.
of shadow now.
Well, that's because I had the spooter with everyone's vision giving everyone vision,
Oh.
and I made it a little darker than I wanted to, so it should be less dark now,
There we go.
theoretically. Cool. Yes. It's still shadowy because it's stormy and, like, dusky, but, not as dark as it was. Anyway.
Well, I shout out my greetings, and I say, there are troubles about.
Kind of troubles, and who are you?
I'm a bit, fuzzy on that front. Are the children home safe?
On which front? On who you are? You don't know who you are?
It's a bit fuzzy. I ask again, are the children home safe? I've been, keeping my eyes out for them.
Yes, they've come back.
Oh, thank goodness. I've been worried.
Are you some kind of guardian for them?
No, unfortunately, I'm not one of their parents, but this town is very dangerous, and it is be highly unfortunate for them to be wandering around alone. They should not be doing that. Take another step
There's
forward.
nothing here. We've searched the town. What's so dangerous?
You've searched the town? What do you mean? There have been dangers in this town.
In that case, where can we go that's safe?
Please come with me. I know of a small group of people who live nearby. You'll be safe there with me. This town is plagued with shadow and death. It is good to hear that the children are home. I must bring you to safety now.
Turn to Pax. What do you make of this?
Well, he doesn't seem threatening. He seems to know more about this place than we do. I see no reason not to follow him, especially since it seems that our charges perhaps are in some kind of rest. How, can you tell us more about this danger, Dragon? I am Pax, by the way.
I don't think I've said my name yet.
No, I just put it in there. Whoops. That's fine.
Okay. Nameless stranger.
Named stranger. Second, let me get my health on my token. Yep, that's the right amount.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still a little fuzzy, but this town, there are monsters of shadow, and it's not safe to be out here. Please come with me. I know of somewhere we'll be safe.
Well, I guess Alex, can we roll insight to see if he's on the level, I suppose? But I'm inclined to follow him.
Yeah, you can do that. And Naomi, as you are putting the headstone on its resting place, you see that there seems to be a name written on there. Just a little bit. It says, all you see is it says DRA, and then it's kind of like weathered in a way. It says, a hero who sacrificed everything and saved much, but he came and went before anyone was able to thank him for his good deeds. But he does seem like he is on a level. Pax and Mateia seems like he's on a level. On the level.
Okay.
I give the
Yeah,
tombstone a small
lead the way
pat.
then. From the stranger.
Alright.
Simon makes a beeline for him and drops the gauntlet on the ground, wanting to play fetch.
That's funny.
I kind of break for a second to look down at the dog, and I look back up at everyone and say, please, we don't have much time. There's dangers about this town. We need to. I need to bring you to somewhere safe. Please. Unfortunately, there are no time for games.
As you guys all approach your new person that you've met, you follow him, if you so choose, towards his town of safety. And he actually leads you up here. And so as you follow him, you follow for what seems like a few hours. The sun is now starting to go down and is starting to get a little bit darker. The rain itself is starting to fade just a little bit. So you guys eventually make it, and you see off in the distance some tents that seem to be set up, and you hear some hustling and bustling as you make your way here. You make your way to this small, like, encampment where people have. It seems to be a small little village town, maybe. That is just tents on tents on tents. And you see there are people chasing and running each other around. Sounds livestock braying and mooing, and you hear some talking as the sun is starting to set even more now. You see the fire in the middle of the encampment blazing with what looks to be full-on tree trunks just across the middle, as what seems to be the sole source of heat and light for this encampment during the dark hours, the dark and the cold hours. You are free to explore the camp as you wish. I will say, Dragon, you know the people of this encampment. You have been here many times. They know you. You know them. You have a very strong relationship with them, and you know that this camp is full of people who are descendants of those who lived in the town where you just were.
Okay. As you know, we begin walking in, and I begin leading them in. I would kind of shout out to the little village, and I would what's the name of the town? I lost it. Yarpston.
Yarpston.
Yarp.
You see a
Yarp.
sign stabbed into the ground here that says New Yarpston.
New Yarpston. I would shout
New
out
Yarp
to
for
the
short.
New York. I would shout out to the people of New York. Greetings, everyone. I've brought some fresh faces from the old town. They do not fear. They seem to be of good nature. I'm sure they could use a nice rest after our travels. Treat them as you would treat your own, as I put my trust in them.
And you see this this character up here. Whoop. Their name being Kathy. Yells down to you. Hey, is that you, Dragon?
Yes, it is. I've returned from my patrol of the old town.
Find anything other than its people? Also, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Kathy. I run this place.
Nothing new found within the town, but it is with a very good feeling that in my heart that I can report. It seems the children that I've told you about, they've returned home.
Oh, she kind of gets this this somber look.
Bless
Present it to
you.
me.
Bless
She sneezes.
Right, and she sneezes on your face. No, she gets this somber look on her face for a second, and she looks up and she looks at you. And did you return them, Dragon, or was it these folks?
I have a good feeling it was these kind folk who have brought the children to their home.
He steps forward, and you now see this is a middle-aged human woman, probably late 40s, hair tied back, graying, covered in dirt and work from the day's labor. It just kind of nods to you all respectfully and says, "Thank you. The children have been, well, they've been gone for a long time. We've heard whispers that they led others to their death, whether it was their intention or not. We chose to believe that their will was not their own, that they were being controlled and they were helping deliver souls of others to some greater evil. We left the town after the attack 30 years ago, and we've been living here outside of the perimeter since then. We didn't feel it right to move on until we felt safe that they had returned. We don't want to forget our lost children, or lost anyone really. So we thank you, and anything that you need that we can provide, be happy to oblige.
Well, I think your suspicions were somewhat correct. When we encountered them, they were trapped in this strange demonic realm where they had been coerced or controlled to try to guide others to serve these strange beasts, which I believe we have slain, which enabled us to free them and many of those that were trapped. So most are at rest, and I would hope that the souls that are not can find some peace eventually now that the greater evil has been assuaged, at least for now.
We thank you. And she nods again.
The children seemed at peace and realizing that they could, in their words, be with their family again.
The whole town was one big family, and we didn't all escape. But some of us did, and some of us chose to live here, and some moved on, but the majority stayed out of respect and making sure that they knew they were never forgotten, and they always had a home. We choose to believe that even after death, there is some good that can come of the spirit and the soul. And if it's ever tainted, that it can be cleansed. So it sounds like that was what happened, that they were somehow tainted and you cleansed them and you freed them. We appreciate you for returning the four back to their bodies and their resting place.
Of course.
Well, it is.
Naomi looks directly at Pax when he says, of course, and she raises an eyebrow. And she holds up 3 fingers. And then slowly lowers them.
Naomi, you better tell that part of the story, since there were 4 travelers and 4 children, and now there are 3 of each, it seems.
Three of the 4 were able to return and find peace. Unfortunately, Jeremy? I feel like it was Jeremy. Is that right, DM?
Yep, that's right.
Jeremy. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
young Jeremy was not able to return.
What happened to him, if I may ask? Here, come closer. Come sit by the fire where it's warm and light, so we're not standing outside. You're welcome here. Come. And she walks up here to the fire and kind of beckons you all to come over where it's warmer and drier and more bright, so that you're not standing on the outside of the encampment, kind of awkwardly out of place.
And as everyone walks up to the fire, I kind of begin a little, just small talk with everyone, and I say, yes, my apologies, my memories come to me again. I'm Dragon Highmore. I'm the protector of this little village.
I'm here, Drag.
And Kathy says, and we thank you for it, Draken. You've kept some of the monsters at bay, and we appreciate giving us a sense of safety and security. But never mind. We can talk about that at a later time. Let's finish up getting to know our guests a little better and hearing what happened with young Jeremy before we all turn in for the evening.
I'm inclined to agree.
And she looks back at you, Niobe, and says, you were saying about young Jeremy?
A decision was made by somebody who is no longer with us as well. That seemed to be the only choice to give him some freedom from something that was plaguing him. I don't know the full details of it and what it entails, but from the person that we are traveling with perspective, he was given another chance at life.
Kind of nods and says, "So even in death, the affliction maintained." And she becomes very withdrawn temporarily, and you can see that it's something that's has a lot of weight on her conscience or on her in some way, where you can physically see her shoulders slump a little bit, and she just looks a little tired. And then after a couple of seconds, she kind of shakes it off and rolls her shoulders back a little bit and says, "Well, if you wish to eat, we have plenty of food that we can share, and we can find beds for you to rest your heads. No problems, and, well, anything that we can provide for you, we will do it."
Can I insight check her?
Thank you.
Yeah.
17. Was that her son?
It was not her son. It did not seem like that. The slump did not seem like that of a parent. Relative? Yes. Parent? No.
I will gently pat her small hand with my giant gauntlet. Just to not really say anything. Just give her a small
Would I
pat.
know the relation?
Yes. It is
Okay.
his grandmother.
Okay.
Well, because he would have passed 30. Yeah, so she's well, she can't be his grandma. She's like 45. So she's his like. So she's related to him distantly. She's not his like immediate grandmother, but the way this village is set up, kind of, they're a clan, so everyone is kind of related in a way, and so younger members feel like the younger siblings or the children of everyone, and then same with like grandparents to parents to children, they all kind of take on those generational roles to those who are young. So, like, you could be biologically related, call someone a grandmother or an aunt or a cousin, what have you, but then not be biologically related per se, but you're all being raised in one big commune together, and so you are, in a way, all related. And that's that kind of relationship that she was one of his caretakers or they grew up together because she's in her late 40s, he was a child, so yeah, they grew up together, they were friends, but she was older, so she was like the older sister. That's the relationship.
So
Older sister vibe.
I would walk around the fire to right here after, hearing the conversation. And I would look at Kathy, was it?
Yes, Kathy.
And I would say, please, it's been a tough day for all of us. This news will hopefully bring closure to a good many folks here, but get some rest. I will show our guests for food and shelter. I do not mind, as I have done so previously.
She nods. Thank you, Dragon. I appreciate it, and we appreciate you. And she lets go of your hand, Naomi, and kind of nods to all of you. Says, "Well, we'll see you in the morning. Have yourself a very restful night. If you need anything, we will be sure to provide." And she turns and she begins just to kind of walk over here. I'll put your stuff back above your head. I just wanted to see your face up. You guys are free to do whatever you wish tonight. You do have beds that are going to be provided for you in here, as well as foods as well.
I show them around to beds and get them food.
It just seems like a very simple community of people living off of the land and living together, just building each other up and trying to. You do see that they do a lot of carpentry. Whoa, they do a lot of carpentry work based on the fact that they are surrounded by the woods still, but You see some stonework here and there, but this seems to be just a giant, similar to a farming community, but they're just kind of living, just surviving.
Bear Grylls and
Anything you guys want to do in particular
Very cool.
before you bed down for the night?
This whole time, Anthea's just been watching Dragon like really closely, and trying to like figure out what reminds her of her brother, and like kind of just suss out without really letting on. Like she's not sure if this is him because he seems to be like an adult and not younger than her.
As you stare more and more, you see the facial bone structure is the same. The hair coloration similar, but a little older looking, a little more gray, a little more aged. You see that he holds himself very strong, very confident in how he walks, and very, very caring at the same time. So you do notice that obviously he has a sword and he has it. Those things are on his person. But yeah, you just keep getting a vibe that's similar but different.
Got a vibe. Okay.
Vibe check.
Roll for vibe.
Roll a vibe.
Okay.
Well, if you guys have nothing else
Yeah.
you wish to do for the evening, you can have a late dinner, you can bed down for the night, and you can take a long rest.
Dragon would show them to beds that they can take up. He would, bring them to the various. He would give them food. He would probably slowly begin introducing them to some of the more, higher folk of the little village.
Mhm.
And then once everyone's set down for bed and everything, he would begin taking his nightly patrol.
Okay. I'm gonna move you guys all up to basically where your bed is, which is like up here. Oh no, that person ran with you backwards. So you guys are up here. Yes, and you can use your 2 third-level spells to make food for everyone.
Yeah.
Dragon, as you take your patrol, you get memory flashes every now and again. Things that come back to you. Things that remind you of something and you don't necessarily understand why. But tonight, as you're going through your normal routine of protecting the village, this town, you get this wave of emotion. This is more of a visceral memory than it is of a memory based in one of imagery. As you're walking, doing your patrol, the rain kind of cuts and just kind of stops for a little while. Maybe 10-15 minutes here or there, on and off percussively throughout the night, but you find a patch where it kind of dies down for a minute. And you find yourself standing near this small grassy. It's not very large. It's maybe 20 feet by 20 feet, maybe 6-7 feet high at its highest peak. But as you're standing there, you get the smell of freshly grown spring grass. You get this visceral memory of warmth, and love and pride. And you reach out your hand, just subconsciously, as if to grab onto somebody's hand, expecting there to be somebody there, as is common. At least that's what you think. That's what it feels like. There should be somebody there. There is somebody there. But as you reach out, you grasp at air, and you turn and you look, and you feel this small sense of loss, and like you're missing someone. Like there is something there. There's someone that should be there, but you don't know who, and you don't know why. You quite recall. You have a feeling deep in your gut that there's someone who's missing. And you kind of shake it off after a couple of minutes, the feeling passes, and you continue your rounds. And again, during your rounds, as you're coming back towards the encampment, you feel almost like a crowd of people were cheering you on and wanting to help, but you don't know why. You don't know where it's from. You don't know why you're having this feeling. You don't remember specifically where this is coming from. You do remember fighting. You remember there being pain. You remember suffering. But you remember victory, and you remember success and pride, not just from yourself, but for you, given freely by others. And you don't recall who or when or why. Fighting's not necessarily something to be super proud of, especially when it ends in death of those who can't protect themselves. But then you get this feeling of protecting, and like you had specific people that you were protecting. You don't know who. You don't know why. Then you feel kind of on your person this gem, and as you kind of feel it for a second and kind of just take it in your fingers and roll it around, the sense of comfort and calm and love just encompasses you from inside to out. And then it passes, and you feel more confident in that what you're doing is probably right. You can't be sure because you don't quite remember why you're doing what you're doing, or where this all started, but you eventually make your way back to the encampment. You find the tent where you typically sleep, as you do have your own. Although if there are others who needed beds, you're the first person to give up yours so a stranger could lay their head and have a place comfortable, or as comfortable as possible, to rest. But on this night, that bed is yours. There are other members who are out working overnight hunting and camping and whatnot. But you find rest, and you all wake the next morning to a brighter day. It's still fairly dim in this town, but the three of you who had just fought the creature who was dissolving the futures of those without question and without remorse, you feel something you haven't felt since you boarded that airship. You feel a sense of hope. You almost feel a sense of wonder, but it's kind of tempered by the fact that you don't quite know where you are. And the green natural livelihood of your environment is not what it should be. It's still these grays and these blues and these blacks, purples, and silvers. It's just different. You do feel that slight sliver of hope, like you're doing something or you did something that had a positive effect on your current situation. And as you all come to and kind of step out to where they said that breakfast was going to be served, you see Dragon, who's already up, helping, doing everything he can for anyone who asks, whether that's helping prepare breakfast, whether that's chopping wood, whether that's helping educate the children, whatever little jobs need to be done. You see Dragon is helping each and every single person. And there seems to be something, the relationship that he has with the town, he seems to garner a lot of respect. And whenever you see people looking his way, even for just a short second, you see that a small smile appears on those people's faces and a little sparkle in their eye, almost like he is their hope, he is their protector, he is the reason they can do what they're doing without fear. But you see that something about him is naturally calm. And when you see that the children flock to him and they kind of try and mimic and try and pretend that they're sword fighting with him as well, and as you see in the way that he plays with the children is he kind of sword fights with a stick. And Anthea, this is identical into the way of which you and your brother, as children, would spar with each other, down to the exact point of when he would come at you and try and get you with that, quote, final blow with the stick, sword running you through. You would, with your staff, kind of flip it around on him and make him miss, so you would be victorious. That exact move to the very last flourish seems to be how Dragon wins every one of his sparring matches with these children. And it's odd because it feels like this should be something you know, like this should be someone you know, you think, but you're not sure and you can't tell. But it feels so normal and so familial. But it's just something's a little off, but it's just strange. It's one of those weird conundrums that you can't quite wrap your head around completely. And as the villagers see that you all have awoken and wave you over for breakfast and whatnot, Kathy steps back into fray and says, we were a lot less hopeful before he came. We don't know where he came from, we don't know why he came, but he came and we have more hope. But maybe now that you're here, you can help with the problem that we didn't want to burden him with alone. The flu that took Jeremy is still out there, and it's starting to creep its way back in. The shadow flu is starting to come back, and I fear if we can't find the source and diminish the source of it, we will be no more, and it'll be like we were never here. And we don't want what happened to our town before to happen to another town. And you see that she gets more and more somber as she expresses this concern of this disease coming back and taking with it the children, the villagers. She's not so much concerned for herself as she is. She goes, hope is what we need, and he provides it, and I think you three can too. I think you can be this of hope that can change this land, that can take us back to where we should be. But for now, let's just have breakfast. We can talk more later, and we can figure out if you're willing to help us. If not, that's okay. There is It's okay. There's no pressure for you to help if that's not in the cards for us from you. Don't worry. But alas, let's have breakfast. We can talk again this afternoon. We're excited to show you more things about our village. And again, thank you for helping the children finally find their peace. And I especially thank you for stopping the creature that took them. And she starts to weep just a little bit, and then she wipes it away and kind of laughs to herself. And she's like, well, let's go. And she like turns and walks towards Dragon for breakfast. And we're gonna end right there.
Lovely.
Oh man.
Lovely, lovely.
Oh man, how you doing over there, May?
I'm so confused.
Good.
I'm like, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious. But also, like, I need to know what's going on. Who is this person? I love it.
Dragon Highmore.
Yeah, clearly.
Clearly, totally, 100% not suspicious, not suspicious. Well, great game, Alex, as always. Thank you so much for having us to play your game.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Great, and as always, everybody say goodbye to YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. Happy dungeon delving, everyone.
you.